Good morning, everyone. It's February 8th, 2019. I've I've talked some about the pole shift. It's really happening. And every time that it's happened in the past, it has caused a great deal of, catastrophic events. But Earth's magnetic North Pole is rapidly moving toward Russia, sparking fears that a pole shift is imminent. The North Pole has picked up speed and is heading right for Siberia. The pole is moving so far and so quickly that GPS official maps had to be updated. We know from old ship logs that in the past 400 years, the North Magnetic Pole has hung around northern Canada. Until the 1900s, it moved perhaps 10 kilometers back and forth, said Karian Began, a geophysicist at the British Geological Survey in Edinburgh. But in the past 50 years, it started to move north. And in the past 30, it started to accelerate away. It went from moving about 5 to 10 kilometers, 6 miles a year, to 50 or 60 kilometers or 34 miles a year today. It is now moving rapidly towards Siberia. This is all a bold sign that Earth's magnetic poles are about to flip. Now, let me point something out to you. It's about 50 years ago that NASA and some others discovered the Nemesis star system, excuse me, which is our binary, meaning it's our second sun, and it has planets orbiting it too. I don't know, I'm not a geophysicist, but it seemed likely to me that, if they were concerned about this planet or this binary secondary star system interacting with our planet, they may keep a close eye on it for the next 50 years, right? Like they have. So could it be that the closer that star system gets to our star system, the more this pole is going to get dragged to wherever it ends up? Right now it's headed towards Siberia, but as this giant star, dwarf star, brown dwarf star, gets closer and closer, we're going to see a lot more volcanic activity. We're going to see a lot more earthquake activity. And by the way, this is going to be my forecast for 2019. We're going to see an even bigger uptick in natural disasters. As a result of this magnetic pole shift and that star system, the Nemesis star system, again, we have two suns. Did you know that? Were you ever taught that you had two suns? We had two suns in school. We do. Two suns and a lot more planets than we've ever been told. And I mean a lot more. But, what do I know? I'm just poor white trash. If the poles actually reverse, Earth's inhabitants would be exposed to radiation, global blackouts, and historically, Earth's north and south magnetic poles have flipped every 200 to 300,000 years. However, As of right now, they haven't flipped successfully for about 780,000 years. But the signs are there, like the magnetic north face racing towards Siberia. Now, if they flip about every 200 or 300,000 years, we'll go with 250 since it's in the middle. We are a little over 300,000 years overdue for one of these things to happen. But I think they're wrong about the timing. I think it probably happens a lot more frequently than 200 to 300,000 years. I don't have any proof, but it seems more likely that it does, especially if the star system interacts with our star system every 3600. It would seem to me that we have a disaster cycle of between 3600 and 5000, 6000 years. It seems like, mass extinction occurs about every 5,000 to 6,000 years, and I don't think we're going to be any different. Now, in 2012, we got past the 5,100 and I think it was 60-year mark. So we're doing good, but we're going to end up getting that same cycle. We've been seeing it since 2012 at least, if not sooner, like 2002, somewhere around there, when volcanic and seismic activity started to pick up. Excuse me. So, this is something that you should probably prepare for, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just like Yellowstone is going to happen. Did you know that there's enough magma charging under Yellowstone to fill the Grand Canyon? I think it was 64 times. Something like that. That's a lot of fucking magma. So, my forecast is we're going to see a lot more natural disasters in 2019. We're going to see a lot more government corruption, and I mean a lot more, at unprecedented levels. We're going to see a lot more black on white killings. I mean, they've already picked up pace. We're going to see a lot more of the same shit we've been seeing for the last 10 years. But at unprecedented levels. It's going to get so insane in this country and the world this year that a lot of people are not going to make it. A lot of people are going to commit suicide. A lot of people are going to lose their fucking minds. So, maybe you should be prepared for it. It's probably a good idea. Now let me finish this. I got off a tangent there. If the poles actually reverse, Earth's inhabitants, humans, and animals, and fish, and everything else, right, would be exposed to radiation, and global blackouts would occur. Historically, Earth's north and south magnetic poles have flipped every 200 to 300,000 years. However, as of right now, they haven't flipped successfully for about 780,000 years. But the signs are there, like the magnetic north facing racing toward Siberia. When the poles do flip, the radiation will be the factor. Right now, the Earth's magnetic field protects the planet from radiation, but during a pole flip, life on the planet would be exposed to high amounts of radiation or radioactive rays from the sun. And it's not just the radioactive waves or rays from the sun. It's a lot more than that. There's explosions out there that's taken place, billions of years ago or hundreds of millions of years ago. And those explosions are still coming towards us. And we are constantly being bombarded by different cosmic rays. It's not just the radioactive rays from the sun that we have to be worried about. So, probably a good idea to prepare for a pole flip. Now, what would you do to prepare for such a thing? Well, here's a few ideas, but I wasn't alive during the last pole flip, so I really wouldn't know, but let's apply some logic here. If the magnetic poles flip, that will mean that, well, number one, it's going to destroy the power grid, at least for a little while, at least during the actual event itself. So, you'll need power if you want power. It will disrupt everything. Food supply. You're going to have to be inside. So how do you prepare for long-term having to sit in your home and wait for... And by the way, a lot of people think that when this happens, it fucks with your brain chemistry. So how do you prepare for a pole shift? And is this one of the things that has caused mass extinctions over and over again? They recommend that you check out Prepper's Blueprint. And I'm more of a go out there and fuck shit up kind of guy. I do prepare to a certain point, but man, there's so much stuff that could go wrong. How do you really prepare for it? Anyway. And there's more here. I got something else for you. Let's see. It's on this website, SHTF Plan. Where'd it go? Right here. So, is it beginning? 10 significant earthquakes rock the California coastline as Mount St. Helens rumbles back to life. This is from Michael Schneider. Scientists tell us that someday the big one will strike California and large portions of the coastline will plunge into the ocean almost instantly. Could it be possible that we are a lot closer to that day than many had anticipated? Over the past several days, there have been a lot of shaking along the North American portion of the Ring of Fire. In particular, during a 24-hour period over the weekend, one area of the California coastline was hit by no less than 10 earthquakes of at least magnitude 3, and this created such a stir that it made the front page of the Drudge Report. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if that earthquake is big enough, it will have direct impact on Yellowstone. Hopefully all this shaking will turn out to be nothing, but many are concerned that they could potentially be foreshocks for a larger event. Once the first quake hit on early Saturday, they just kept happening, one after another. The first earthquake struck early Saturday morning at a magnitude of 4.3, while a second earthquake of 3.2 magnitude rumbled about 30 minutes later. 3 additional earthquakes hit between 4:30 p.m. and 5:38 p.m. Saturday in the same area, registering magnitudes between 2.9 and 3.6. A 3.0 magnitude earthquake struck that night at 11:37. The geological activity continued into Sunday. The USGS reported 4 earthquakes near Petrolia between 2:18 and 4:05 p.m. I know I butchered that name. Further south along the Ring of Fire, Mexico was hit by an even larger earthquake on Friday. A strong earthquake jolted southern Mexico on Friday, rattling nerves and swaying tall buildings hundreds of miles away in the capital. But there were no reports of serious damage or injuries or death. So, all this stuff, we're going to see a lot more of it in 2019. A lot more. There we go. This is from the Waking Times. If I can get the motherfucker to scroll right here. Alright, so NASA confesses to dosing Americans with airborne lithium and other chemicals. And it's an old article, but it's still worth briefly touching on. There's the official explanation for why NASA is spraying lithium, a pharmaceutical drug most often used to treat people with manic depression or bipolar disorder. And they're spraying it into ionosphere. And then there is the probable reasons. It would be easier to accept NASA's official explanation if they were not so secretive about everything they study and do in space. But one thing is for certain, NASA's own personnel have admitted that lithium, along with other chemicals, are intentionally being placed into our environment regularly. It is possible that many of NASA's own employees aren't even aware of the true motivations for carrying out such a project, ironically displaying the very behaviors that these chemicals or pharmaceuticals are meant to instill. So they've been doing this for some time. This is from 2016, and they've been doing it since I was a child. I'm 45, going to be 46 here in 5 months. Yeah, 5 months. They've been doing it since I was about 8, 9 years old. And we're just now, in the last, 3, 4 years, they're just now admitting to what they've been doing all that time. And I think it can make the disasters even worse. But we'll see. We'll see if I'm right. I think that that this year is going to prove to be a very, very monumental year, and probably the next decade is going to be monumental. We'll find out, though, the hard way. Till next time, kill the state before the state kills you.